the grid that the Bombers call home.
You're throwing the tee in the ground. If your hand's not shaking, there's something wrong.
I'm in my element. It's evident that there's levels to the game. I'm in my element. Flow is like water. I'm forced to a fire. I'm feeling like gold. Gotta stay grounded, stay down to earth. Following God and you grinding, you do as you told. I don't work to make you like me, but I'm front and center. Word to Spike Lee. I'm in my element. Yeah. I'm in my element. Yeah. I'm in my element. I'm in my element. Yeah. I'm in my element. Yeah. I'm in my element.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2023 Port Rowan Invitation here for the World Long Drive Tour Stop. We're here in Canada. I'm Alexis Belton here at Ryan Riesback. Excited to have you in the booth this week.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. I used to do this a little bit, and it's nice to come back. And unfortunately, Bobby Bradley not able to be here today, but I'm excited to be with you, Alexis. I think we're going to have some really good competition today. The conditions are almost perfect. The weather is really, I think it's 70 degrees, maybe the high is supposed to be around 73 today. Almost no wind right now. Expecting a little bit of a headwind later on, but the players are ready. They're on the tee. We're about ready to get underway.
Yeah.
I love this up here in Canada. This is great.
Oh, it's so nice. The drive out here is really beautiful. We've got 48 players that are competing. Majority of our top 10 players are here, so it's going to be really great. The grid today is playing around 420 yards, and it's an interesting setup. Right now, we don't have the numbers. Those will come as we continue to hit, but I'll give you guys a look at what the grid looks like. It is a little bit downhill, and then the further you go, a little bit uphill. Part of it's blocked out due to the view because there's a huge slump coming from the right side. So most of the guys will hit over that. That won't really affect their balls. But yeah, it's a beautiful grid. And right now we've got Colton Casto, Jacob Gill, Wes Campo, and Elliot Slater, who's taking the spot of Justin James. Justin James was signed up for this event. However, a little bit of passport issues. He wasn't able to make it.
Yeah, unfortunately he wasn't. But Elliot's a great competitor. He's been around for several years up here in Canada and stepped up and saw the opportunity to come out and compete. So he's not super fast, but he's very consistent ball striker. Puts a lot of golf balls in play. So if in this grid, we should probably talk too about the width of the grid. It's only about 40 yards wide until around 330, 340 yards, and it widens a little bit after that. So they've done something today that we normally don't do. Normally it's a kind of a square to the tee box look, but they've decided to go into the grid today. So it's going to get out around 60 yards wide towards the end of the grid. But from around 340, I believe, it's still 40 yards wide. So
yeah, reminds me a lot of Jersey.
Yeah,
a 40-yard grid there. And this one reminds you, if you're at home and you're watching, this is so similar to a regular hole on a golf course because that's where we are. We're on a golf course, essentially playing a hole. You can see on the grid here that past that tree on the right side is where the grid is opening up.
Yeah, we're hitting backward on hole number 9, so the green is just to the left side of the tee box. We're going to see. You're noticing here, Colton Casto with a very strong performance so far, 391 right out of the gate, a 395. Elliot Slater's got 2 balls in play. Jacob Gill and Wes Campo struggling here. This grid plays pretty tight, and luckily for the players right now, there's not a lot of wind. But whenever you have wind here, unless it's a tailwind, it's really difficult to hit this grid. Anything left or right with a lot of movement will run out of play. So the players I'm assuming we're gonna see some some sets where there's a few players out of bounds. So hopefully Jacob's got one in play. He's got 2 balls that they've not scored yet. And,
there we go. Looks like he's got a number up there. Colton Casto lighting it up, especially as we're talking about how tight this grid is. But he's coming off of a win. I'm excited to see what he's going to do this week.
Yeah, that was his second career win a couple weeks ago in Memphis, Tennessee. Starting really strong right here at 395. I think the grid goes to about 430 is the max distance. So there's a lot of dew on the ground right now too. So you're not going to get a lot of roll. It's going to stop pretty quickly. But 395, scores locked in. Elliot Slater at 343. And just finalizing the score for Jacob and Wes. Looks like Wes is at 47. So if they confirm that ball for Jacob Gill, he's going to take 4th place here in this group and finished with 25 points, which is much better than 0 points.
Without a doubt, especially with this grid, to make sure you get points. There's some other grids out there where if you take a 0 set, you could be okay. But here, every point's really going to matter because we might see a lot of OB sets.
Yeah. Well, we set the table here for that. The second group, Sam Judah, Bobby Ray, Justin Balaga, and Matthew Kindu. Matt here is also Canadian, and we've seen Sam and Bobby Ray quite a bit this year. Justin Balaga we've seen a couple of times. Justin Balaga is a really tall, kind of slender competitor, but a lot of leverage, good speed, starting to compete more, which is exciting for exciting for us to see new competitors come into the sport.
Oh, yeah, and great style, too. I'll have to add that myself. I'm always looking at the style. I'm really excited to see Sam Judah here. He's been kind of creeping up to win as well.
Yeah, he's had quite a few top 8 finishes. Very fast, competitor. This elevated tee box might play into his hand a little bit where he doesn't launch the ball really high.
Yes.
So as it dries out, maybe not this morning during this first group, but as it dries out, he should be able to get a little bit of run. The players that hit that lower ball flight, kind of like Sam.
He also has a good shot shape. He's moving the ball a lot consistently, which will also help on a grid that's like a fairway.
Yeah. I really like how that the grid is framed by trees. To me, I think that when there's a wide expanse, like if you're out on just like a big open soccer field facility, it's harder for me at least to try and zone in between the flags. It's easier for me to kind of feel the presence of the trees on both sides and then aim for the fairway.
Yeah.
You like that as well? You're a golfer.
I'm a huge fan of that. It's like you said, it's easier to pick out a point and target and hit, but. Ryan, you're doing it all today. You're sitting with me commentating. You've been helping set up as normal, and you're also competing. What are you looking forward to? What's kind of your thought process going into the day?
Well, working with World Long Drive and trying to run these competitions, by the time it gets to competition for me, usually it's a big relief, and so I can just relax and go and have fun. So. I don't take it as seriously as I used to. Maybe that's to my detriment, I guess, a little bit. But I actually enjoy competing a lot more, and I used to get a lot more stressed about it. And so now I don't really have that stress anymore. I'm just able to just go out and compete. And I'm getting older. I'm going to be eligible for the senior division,
which is crazy.
August 1st. So
okay.
So you guys can send me my birthday presents. So message me, DM me. I'll get you my address.
We'll put it in the comments below.
Yeah. So we got our first 400 ball of the day. Sam Judah, his first ball out of the gate, 401.
Wow.
That's pretty solid. Matt Kindu, 381. Bobby Ray still no balls in play, it looks like. We do have. I wonder though if there's a connection problem maybe with the scoring system. Sometimes there's a few kinks that we got to get out once the competition starts. So we should see something come up here. Hopefully he's got some balls in play. But
401's a big one to start off. I think last year the furthest drives were around 410, 415.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, well, actually, last year I think the longest drive was around 391, which 391. Was Brandon Flynn.
Okay.
Yeah. And they do have. We should probably mention Chris Mason, a former competitor up here, helped out with this event for several years. Passed away. His family does a $1,000 bonus for whoever hits the longest drive of the weekend. So last year, I was in first place going into the semifinal match, and Brandon Flynn edged me out, took that, and then the next round in the finals beat me. So it was a double whammy. So Brandon and I are still at odds with it.
Well, we might settle that today, but we are waiting for the final numbers here, but we will get those to you right after this.
Bobby Ray, do you think that your multi-sport background has helped you kind of train, and do you still train that way for long drive now?
I do think that just being an athlete, being around sports, obviously helps and translates into any other sport. When it comes to my workout and my fitness, I definitely geared it a little bit differently. My workouts have traditionally been just like for aesthetic purposes, and it just so happens that translates into hitting the ball further. So I've competed at high-level sports my whole life, but you're just embracing that adrenaline, and I miss it, and you can't replicate it.
Bobby Ray taking the lead at 4:02, just nudging out Sam Judah at 4:01. That was a really great start. As you said earlier, last year, 398?
391.
391 was
yeah.
the furthest, so we're already seeing the guys put the balls out there. And this is early start. So we have dew on the ground, not a lot of roll. We're going to see some big numbers today.
I think we definitely will. The forecast calls for a headwind later in the day, slight headwind, 6 to 7 miles per hour, which will make a significant difference. But like we talked about, I mean, the grass is wet, the ground, the balls aren't rolling, so those are probably mostly all carry at this point. So that's a pretty solid ball. Bobby Ray picking up 200 points there. Colton Casto with 200 points. We're going into our third group now. Sean Johnson, Colton Calcanis, Mike Thorne, and Mark Photo. Colton Calcanis made the jump from amateur division to pro this year down in Florida. Solid competitor. I know he also does some coaching and training as well. Sean Johnson, he's a free spirit.
Without a doubt.
He wears that visor. I thought he would be up here fishing too, because our place we're staying at is right on the lake, and we told him to bring a pole. And when that's happened before, he'll show up. He loves fishing, so maybe the weekend is young, so maybe we'll see him out later today or tomorrow fishing.
He might catch the biggest fish as well as take home a win for the longest drive. We'll see. He's definitely one of the tallest players out here.
Yeah, a lot of leverage. He's I always tease him because on the broadcast a year or two ago, I messed up and said he was a Mississippi State Bulldog, and he's actually an Ole Miss Rebel.
Oh, wow.
And so
that's a huge mess up.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So that's like I'm from Utah, so that's like saying you're a Utah or BYU.
Yeah.
It's rival.
The rival down there.
Yeah.
That's a really great game to go to if anyone ever has a chance to do. But one of the things that I love about his swing, though, is that he uses his width, 6'7" of height, and really leverages his the width of his swing.
Yeah, he gets his coil right, but his long arms, long body. I like how he pushes into the ground. You'll see that left foot kind of float up and pull off to the sides. He's leading right now, 377. Colton Calcanis at 373. Mike Thorne, 364. Not the numbers we saw from the other group, but all four players with balls in play, this has been pretty good. I don't think we have an OB set yet. We set this up. So
Knock on wood.
Yeah. Hopefully we can keep it going. When the wind gets going left or right to left, I think that you'll see, if it does that, I think that you'll see the ball sliding out a little bit more, especially when it warms up and the ground firms up. I like Mark Photo he takes a pretty good swing at it, a good healthy hack.
He does.
Newer competitor too, been around a couple of years. Not competing as much as some of the other players, but definitely competing more this year.
Amateur ranked at number 22. And this is his first time competing in the open division.
Well, maybe I wonder if he's made the jump, or sometimes the competitors will play just because they want to compete both divisions.
Yeah.
Try and qualify for the World Championship. Which we're getting. We're getting closer to the end of the tour season. We've got this event, the Connecticut event at the end of the month, and then the Utah event, and then we'll be on to the televised events.
Which is really exciting. So actually, the way that points work are a little bit different versus the tour stops, the televised shows, and then World Championships. So the non-televised events, first place gets 150 points, second 100, kind of dwindles down to there. 33 plus, everyone gets a point, so 5 points. Televised, they're bumping it up to 250 points first. Second is 175, going down to third 125, and then the World Championships, everything's on the line there. First place 500 points, second place 350, third place 250, and then just breaks down from there.
Yeah, these ranking points are kind of like the currency of long drive in a way. So, if there's invitational events, they're going to draw from that. So if you are, an international competitor and you're maybe, trying to figure out, how can we get points, we actually offer these points as well through affiliate events. So if you have people in your area that are doing long drive competitions, they should reach out to World Long Drive, look at becoming an international affiliate, and then those points that you earn through your competitions there that have the ability to be included in this world ranking. So
Yeah.
I love the world feel of the sport.
Without a doubt, World Long Drive, it's not said for just any reason. It was definitely a global sport. And the other thing I love about having this point system, it allows you to have a better understanding of the rankings. I think a lot of times people will say, oh, this person's only finished second or third this year, and they're ranked really high. And that's due to their finish at World Championships, televised events, and non-televised events. So gives you paints the picture of our top 10 players.
Yeah. I think, too, there's going to be a competitor this weekend here, Owen Meads I think he's from the UK. He was at the Germany event, the International Continental Championship over there. Very impressive. The guy's got all the speed in the world, very accurate golfer. I'm excited to see him this weekend. I'm not sure if he's in group 2 or 3. I hope he's in 3 because I'm in 2.
Okay.
Because he's that good. And you'll see there's so much good talent out there that because they're not able to come over here and compete on the tour with us all the time, you don't see them as much. And some of these new competitors have never competed, but we're seeing a lot of really great new talent come into the sport right now.
Even through the virtual experiences, I know, is it in Korea, there's partnerships there?
Yeah, there's a company, Golf Zone GDR, that they've got like 300 indoor facilities there. They're our international affiliate in South Korea. They do a great job. They actually, I believe, this next week is when they have their qualifying event. So they're going to send 3 competitors from South Korea. June is already in, so there should be probably at least four South Koreans represented this year at the World Championship.
That's going to be so much fun. Make sure you tune into that in Atlanta, Georgia for the World Championships, where right now this group is finishing up Scotty Pierman, Cody Billinghurst, Devin Fitzgerald, and Bud Widener, who is also another amateur. We will wait to see if he got a ball in the grid, but right now looks like Cody is in the lead at 379.
Yeah, Bud shaking his head. Looks like we're getting some flight scope numbers here. I know Bud's club speed there was around 142. Bud's a young guy. I think he's only 18 or 19 years old. But very good speed for a young competitor. But not happy with that performance there, not putting a ball in play. But looks like maybe Cody Billinghurst is going to take that one home. Good competitive set there. All 3 players, wow. I stand corrected. 403.
With a 403, and we will confirm that right after this break.
Introducing the new Bridgestone E9 Long Drive, co-designed by world long drive athletes to push the limits of distance. Thanks to extreme ball speed and superior aerodynamic flight. Engineered for you to hit your longest drive. Drive the new E9 Long Drive. Extreme distance for your game.
Welcome back. We just confirmed Cody Billinghurst, a 403-yard longest ball of the competition so far, the first 4 groups. Very impressive to see something like that. We'd seen that the players were around the 370s there, and his last ball, 402, coming up big. Cody's one of these guys, too. We just saw him show up last year and really tremendous ball striker, great speed, very competitive. He really is one of the guys that if you're here in person watching, you'll see the excitement when he's up on the competition.
Without a doubt. Yeah, and huge shout out to Bridgestone Golf Balls for being a sponsor of ours. And I know you got to work with them in creating this specific ball for World Long Drive. Most times they're not able. Sorry, I got to fly it. Just flew straight to my eye.
There are some insects flying around up here in all these trees.
But can you tell us about that experience?
Yeah, Bridgestone was great. When we first started meeting with them about almost a year and a half ago now, they were very interested in producing the right golf ball for long drive. And I think that we have a lot of times a misconception of what that means. Is it the hardest golf ball? Because that used to be what we would say is you just need to get the hardest golf ball you can find, and that would be what we would use. Well, they educated us a little bit on aerodynamics and ball flight, and that's where they focus. So the compression of the ball, it's not a really hard golf ball. It's a more firm ball compared to some of the tour player balls that you see, really soft balls that spin a lot. This ball is designed to fly, and I try to explain it as if you've got a glider, right? They're trying to produce the sleekest, smoothest, most aerodynamic glider so that the ball will fly the furthest possible for the amount of ball speed you put into it.
And it's advantage for both players, those that have high swing speeds and those that hit it might be a little bit not as fast.
Yeah, and some competitors might say, oh, well, I'm not seeing the ball speeds. But I have a hard time believing that because we've seen even this year players 230 mile per hour ball speed with this softer ball.
Yeah.
And that's impressive for a ball to hold up to that speed. I mean, we're seeing right now, like for example, Sam Judah just hit one 221 miles per hour, 153 club head speed. Those are great numbers, speed numbers. We'll see if he gets paid off on that, with putting a ball in play. But the ball flies, incredibly well. Some people say it's the best ball we've ever had. So I mean, shout out to Bridgestone. I'm only going to praise them for what they've done, and they've been so good to work with. The E9 is the ball. You can buy it, retail yourself.
Without a doubt. And it works for not even just long drivers.
Right.
For the everyday person, and might get you a few extra yards. I think we might have seen Bud Widener putting up a few extra yards there. We heard a scream, maybe the first scream of the day.
Yeah, I love it when the players get excited and really, because sometimes some players are in their shell a little bit and they don't feel comfortable. He went OB that first set. We don't see that he's got any balls in play. Hopefully he's got, that last ball is in play. Wes Campo not putting a ball in play there. Colton Calcanis with a 384. He's in the lead right now. Sam Judah also not putting balls in play. So now we're starting to see a little bit.
384.
Yeah.
Bud Widener, that makes a big difference coming off an OB set. And like you said, now we're starting to see, Wynn's not picking up that much yet, but we're starting to see those OB sets, and that's going to make, that big difference from being 8 or 9.
That's right, and 93 there for Bud Widener. So he'll end up taking that. Went OB his first set, bounces back with a win his second set to pick up 200 points. He did exactly what he needed to do to stay in the competition, because you don't want to keep falling behind. As you get later on in the competition and you start to say, I need to win these last 2 sets, that's not a good feeling to have.
No, not at all.
No. This is a good set here, a good group. Bobby Ray, Sean Johnson, Elliott Slater, and then Devin Fitzgerald, also a pretty solid competitor. We don't see Devin competing quite as often as some of the main players on tour, but you're going to see he's got some good speed, 148 club head speed right there. Not great ball speed, but we'll start to, these guys are starting to warm up. That's pretty good. We're not seeing a whole lot of 130 club head speeds here, a lot of 140s and some 150s. But you don't have to have the fastest club head if you can fly the ball really well, which is
the biggest thing for this event is ball flight,
yep,
how precise you are, and where you're landing it. And then obviously have to hit it far at the same time, which, the way that long drive works, I think a lot of people say, oh, long drivers, you guys hit it everywhere. And sometimes that is true. But when you're swinging at these speeds and you have this fast of ball speed, the further you go, it's kind of like a cone. It's harder to keep it in a tighter span. And so,
yeah, I think of it. I compare it to basketball, right? If I'm shooting a free throw or a 3-pointer, these guys are shooting half-court shots.
Yeah,
that rim looks a lot smaller from half court than it does from the 3-point line. So,
and you have the same swing that you have for a free throw.
Yeah,
it's not as much time, and you only have one Steph Curry out there.
That's right. But we're seeing that though. These players, a lot of them are using softer shafts these days.
Yeah.
And so you have to be even more precise with the softer shaft. The stiffer shaft, a lot of people will go to a stiffer shaft when they need to tighten up their dispersion. And here, you've really got to be confident in your swing speed if you're going to do that, because you're taking a step back with a little bit stiffer shaft. So if you go too stiff, you slow down. If you're too soft, your dispersion is a challenge. Putting balls in play. You got to find that balance. I always tell people you should swing the softest shaft that you can control and put in play, and that
well
typically
said.
is the best way to go. So.
Sean Johnson with a 401.
Yeah, and we're getting some numbers here. Bobby Ray, he's been hitting the ball really well lately. I think just missing out sometimes in the top 8 or top 16. But he's knocking on the door. He's an interesting character. He's going to be on a little bit later as well. I don't think he brought sleeves with him to Canada, so you're not going to see the sleeves. You're going to see those biceps and triceps popping. 387 there for Bobby Ray. 401. They're going to lock that number up for Sean Johnson at 401. That's another 401 ball. We've got guys right there. We're going to take a quick break. We'll get right back to you, and we'll give you these final numbers for Elliott Slater locked in.
That is going to be close.
Oh, what a final.
Oh, my goodness.
Here we go, the drum roll. I'm going to go introduce the winner. Colton
76.
Casto takes it down at 380.
Ladies and gentlemen, with a drive of 380 yards, Colton Casto, your WLB Memphis champion.
Oh, it was great. I couldn't even describe it, man. It was incredible. I mean, I won a little over a year and a half ago in Oklahoma, and I beat Justin in the finals there too, but didn't really compare to this one. It's World Long Drive. That was something looked like a smaller event, and this is just icing on the cake, I guess.
Yeah, I was really happy to see Colton win. It's amazing to see his transformation over the last 6 years. He went from not even qualifying to the World Championship to being an elite hitter in the sport. So kudos to Colton. He's worked his butt off, and kudos to Bobby as well for kind of guiding him along the way.
What a great story of Colton's win. To hear there from Josh Koch, just sharing how Cody's progressed into the winner's circle like he did is great. To also see the family that Long Drive is. These guys, I mean, I know you guys are not friends on the tee, but off the grid, you definitely are rooting for each other.
Yeah, I think there's a tremendous camaraderie that comes along with this. We spend a lot of time when we're on the road outside of the competition together, and you get to know people better that way. And so nobody wants to see anybody fail when they're on the tee box, right? Everybody wants to see the winner, but they want everybody to be at their best. And we see that a lot with players. It's an individual sport, but there's a lot of camaraderie. And I wouldn't necessarily say we feel like we're teammates or anything like that, but definitely you want to see players do well. In fact, I think the best indication of that is in the audience when the competition comes down to the finals. A lot of times people are afraid to cheer for one or the other or both. And so it kind of gets quiet, which is Long Drive sometimes, it's loud, it's boisterous, and it's kind of a weird feeling, like nobody wants to cheer against somebody. If you cheer for somebody, or you're cheering against somebody else. And I think that's an indicator that people want to see everybody do well. Competitive collaboration is what I like to call it. You bring your best, I bring my best, and that is how we all get better, and we produce the best events because of that. Yeah. And Scotty Pierman, 405, longest ball today. First, it's interesting, we're seeing a lot of the longest drives, either the first ball or the last ball of the set. Yes. And, I think this grid also sets up really well for Scotty. Scotty has had, kind of an adventurous start to the year, I would say, but is so consistent when it comes down to his swing. He's going to find the grid, and he has a very controlled swing. I think what you said earlier, find the softest shaft that you can control. He definitely knows how to control. And so I'm excited to see what he's going to do in this event. Yeah, and Scotty, when he transferred over, moved from amateur to pro, he shot right up. I think he went all the way up to the number 2 spot in the world. Wow. Behind Kyle Berkshire. So he really rocketed to the top. 2-time amateur world champion, so very skilled competitor. And he was new when he started competing in amateur. I mean, he's not been in the sport terribly long, probably 4 or 5 years now, but solid competitor all the way around. Jacob Gill, 404. Jacob. Whoa, 407. Yeah, Jacob, Canadian firefighter here, and tremendous competitor for years, very fast. He actually is just coming off an injury where he broke a vertebrae in his neck, and great to see obviously his speeds are there. 404, that's a good number. And Scotty taking the win home, 407, extending the longest drive of the day. And like you said, the wind's not really changed. Yeah. So they're starting to warm up is what I think it is. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And that's another thing that most people don't know. The first few swings of the day
actually don't go the furthest. It takes about, what would you say, 30 swings to actually see prime numbers?
Yeah, I would say 30 to 40 swings sometimes to get all the way, your body all the way warmed up and loose.
Yeah, and it's a lot different on the grid than it is on the range over there. So
yeah, the adrenaline factor will warm you up quickly.
I can remember practicing and going, there's no way I can hit it past 300, and then I get on the grid. I was like, oh, 330.
Was your first event the Mesquite televised event?
My first event was Worlds.
Okay.
And then my first tour event was Mesquite.
Yeah, I remember. I'm like, she's a good one. Very impressive. You played you played college golf as well?
Played college, played a little bit of LPGA Epson, Australian tour.
How was that?
Did a lot of traveling. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. I will say, there's nothing like long drive, though. The music, I don't know if you guys can hear it behind us, especially when these guys start yelling and screaming. The women's side's so much fun.
Yeah, I really enjoy watching the ladies compete because they put so many balls in play, and you see them jockeying for that win, leapfrogging each other during the set.
Oh, yeah. Right now we've got Cody Billinghurst, Colton Casto, Mark Photo,
yep,
and Justin Balaga on the stage right now. Looks like Cody is leading at 390, and Colton is looking for a ball in the grid.
Yeah, I think the ball he just hit down the right side looked pretty good. 216 ball speed on it. If that ball's in play, that'll be competitive with Cody's 390. So we're seeing the ball, like we talked about, ball flight. Sam Judah was in the 220, 221 range. But a lot of these players are in the teens at ball speed wise. 212 to 216 is what we're seeing. That's good enough. Yeah, it looks like Colton missed his ball, or his fifth ball there. So
I have a question for you. Being here in Canada, I know when we're in Denver, there's a big elevation change. When we're in Florida, extremely opposite. What is it like here? How have you prepared to be in this environment?
So this is kind of I would say, an in-between. There is some humidity here, but it's not super thick. There's some elevation, but not a lot of elevation. I mean, even in Utah, I'm at like 4,200 feet. That's a lot higher than most places. I think Mesquite's somewhere around like 2,000. So here the ball's going to fly with this elevated tee box. That's going to help out a little bit, but you're not going to see a lot of crazy numbers because of the conditions.
The World Long Drive Virtual Tournament is live. All summer long, compete in this virtual tournament for a chance to win a cash prize. World Long Drive is giving away $1,000 in monthly prize money to the top driver in each division. Top 50 per division will advance to the finals in September with a prize pool of $25,000. You can enter as many times as you want. For full details and to register, visit worldlongdrive.com or scan this QR code on your screen right now.
That might be the best sound in all of golf. Gentlemen, the grid is clear. On the tee now, Wes Campo, Matthew Kindo, Sean Johnson, and Cody Billinghurst. He just got back off of hitting.
Did he go back to back?
Trying to see. Yep, he's back to back as we're taking off with set number 3.
Do you like hitting back to back?
I did. I think I already had a lot of adrenaline going. I can make a quick change in my head and get it over with. But sometimes if that first set is not great, I do not like back-to-backs. How about you?
That's what I was going to say. If you're in a good groove, I would say just line them up. I'll hit all 30 balls right now. But, man, when something's off, you're like, I need 20 minutes.
Yes.
I don't need 2 minutes. I need 20 minutes. All right, let's Matt Kindu here, starting off 396. I believe that's the longest drive of the day for him, 396. I mean, the longest is 407, so he's right there knocking on the door. We'll see if we get some numbers here relayed to you. I know you can see them as they pop up on the screen. Cody Billinghurst, he's right around that 142 range. 142, 210-ish. Sean Johnson, he's in the kind of that same boat. 142, 214.
I mean, Sean's just so fast.
Yeah, and he usually launches at a little higher than he's right there. It was at 9.8 degrees. He usually launches a little bit higher, but with an elevated tee box, you can launch it lower. That way, if there's some roll, you can get a little bit more roll. But like we talked about today, it's going to be carry grid mostly the beginning of this competition.
I think we're seeing that play out in these ball speed numbers. Sean Johnson's putting up 210, 216. We've seen some high numbers there, but then you have, Matthew that's putting up 200, 205, and we're getting similar distances, and that says a lot to what you were just talking about.
Yeah, that's what, there's in the progression of a long driver, people focus on speed a lot because they think that's the best way to increase distance. But ball flight and hitting the center of the club face makes a big difference. So you don't have to be the fastest. You can do these other things to make up the difference.
And we've talked about, too, where you miss it on the club face makes a big difference as well, especially with this ball. I think it is if you hit it, a little bit high, or is it low?
So if you hit it high on the club face, that usually knocks spin off. If you hit it low, that's going to increase spin. Same thing if you hit it to the heel, usually you're going to get it kind of a cut spin, but it's going to be a deader shot. The energy transfer is worse. If you're going to miss, you typically want to miss a little high or a little towards the toe. That usually, the toe shot will bring the ball back because of the gear effect. So
that's incredible.
Yeah, there's a lot to it, but, typically, if you want to pick up yardage, hit the center of the club face.
Yeah. All right, that set looks like
that was really close. We had a 396, two 396s, and a 397. Yeah, so I think Matthew Kindu tied. We'll see who the winner of that set was. Might have been Cody Billinghurst. So Cody picks up his second win. He's got 500 points. That almost assures him, as long as he puts balls in play the next two sets, it almost ensures he's going to move on to the group tomorrow, group 24. But yeah, Sean Johnson and Matt Kindu tied at 396. So they're going to split points.
They'll split those points. And kind of how the point system goes for this set, round 1, point system, round 2, point system, and then round 3, when we're final 16, is match play. We have 48 players in this event, so not a full field. What we're doing is taking the top 8 out of these 3 groups, going down to round 2. We'll have 12 taking the top 8 out of those 2 groups, moving into match play. Yeah, so a little bit different format.
Yeah, how do you like the match play format?
Love the match play format.
Individual, one-on-one, they're going heads up against each other. Longest player, basically a one-round shootout, right?
Yeah.
You beat the guy, you move through.
What is your heart rate up there during those match play moments?
It's funny. I'll tell you. There's a couple of experiences I've had. One of them was at a World Championship. I think it was in 2016, and they did a match play format. And this was when it was at WinStar, and you had to beat the player 2 out of 3 matches. And I remember at one round, I went up and I topped a couple of balls. I come walking off, and my coach asked me, what happened up there? And I had totally blanked. I couldn't even remember hitting balls. It was the strangest thing. It was like, they talk about, when they train Navy SEALs and stuff, that some people panic and some people choke, and there's a difference, I guess. But one of them is your brain goes into auto mode, and so you kind of become unconscious.
Yeah.
And I think that what happened to me. So
I've never heard that on the grid.
Yeah. Yeah, I walked off and they said, what happened? I was like, I don't even know. I don't remember.
What do they call that? The driving effect, how we unconsciously just drive home sometimes without even thinking, and you were on autopilot for long drive.
Yeah, and it wasn't good because I think I hit 3 ground balls to the shortstop.
Oh, no.
That set. So, but I've also been on, the opposite side of that. I've also been in competition where I had supreme confidence in what I was doing. that I was going to hit balls in play. It didn't matter. I never thought that I was going to miss. I was going to hit a ball in play, and it was going to be a good, solid drive, and nobody could beat me. And I've been in that situation too, which is much better.
That's a great feeling.
Yeah.
In the zone. Colton, or Justin actually yelling at that last ball.
Yeah, he's got no balls in play, so that might have been a yell of frustration. It looks like Scotty Pierman with a 398, looking good. I'm assuming he's got a 96 in there as well, so I'm assuming he's going to take first place. That's going to move Scotty up. He's going to move up to probably second or third spot there.
And we'll get these final numbers right after this.
Man needs no introduction, right? You are decorated in this sport.
Old man.
Do you feel like you have to keep up with the youngins? Have you changed
Yes.
any equipment? Have you changed any
I've changed my
techniques?
workout routine to, I'm doing a lot more endurance.
Okay.
Because I feel like, especially the World Championships last couple of years, I've run out of gas. And, you know, day 3, day 4. So I really want to, throughout the year, pace myself and kind of build. So I've changed the way I train, is one thing.
What a guy there we just got to hear from, running out of gas.
Who was that handsome devil?
Who was that guy?
Oh, that was way back at the first event this year in Mesquite.
Yeah, from that event to now, how have you felt being on the grid?
You know, I feel comfortable on the tee box these days. I know I was talking about this earlier. I'm not too stressed out about performing well. I think I'm just up there trying to do my best. And a couple of events earlier this year, I felt like I was showing up to a gunfight with a knife, but I just didn't have enough horsepower. So
Yeah.
I've been doing some speed training. Hopefully we'll see it today. My numbers have been earlier in the year were like around 208, and then they were going down like 205, 203. So I'm hoping to get back up above 210. I feel like with my ball flight, 210, 212, I'm competitive. I'd like to get back up in the 220s where I was a few years ago. But like I said, with age, I don't recover like I used to. I have been trying to focus on resting, and I think that's making a bigger difference. I typically don't get a lot of sleep, and that I think hurts a lot too. So focusing on rest and then doing some more speed training, hitting more balls, I think that's putting me in a good place.
Yeah, you talked about changing up workout routine. I think now, just in the sports industry in general, we're seeing how important it is to recover. We've always had this mindset of go, 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 push, push, push. What are some of those differences you've made in working out, especially when it pertains? I think a lot of people think long drive is pump iron.
Right, and it's really, there's a lot more endurance than people realize. Even though it's a quick burst of energy with the swing, you're doing a lot of quick bursts of energy throughout the day. You show up, you warm up, you're probably hitting 30 to 60 golf balls sometimes, maybe even some players are like 80, and then you hit 30 balls in competition. You got to come back the next day, do the same thing. Sometimes at the World Championships, like a 4 or 5 day competition, and it's a lot of hitting, and that stress on your body, even your joints and your ligaments, you've got to give them time to recover. You're just you'll see it. Like I was doing corporate outings a few years back, and my speeds just kept dropping, and I'm like, what's going on here? Well, it's because I'm flying and hitting every day, and it's just too much. So. All right, Bobby Ray there with a 389. Mike Thorne, no balls in play. Colton, zeros across the board, and that's not a good sign. But he's got 2 wins prior to this, so if he can bounce back, he should be all right. This is just round 3 for him. Five sets of hitting total here. And 397 with Bobby Ray. He's in second place. He's looking pretty good. He's going to be on here in a little bit. And you should ask him what he's doing differently.
Oh, without a doubt, because it's been really fun to watch his growth. throughout these events. I feel like every event he's knocking at the door of breaking one more stage, and so I'm excited to see what he's going to do this week.
Yeah, I know he's been frustrated because he's been like the 9th player. It's been really close, and he's had some things that just didn't, like, you know, the ball didn't bounce his way, and he didn't get in. But sometimes that's what galvanizes a competitor.
Yeah.
The challenge of getting, you know, beaten down. If it comes too easily, it almost doesn't have the same value.
Without a doubt.
So with him, I think he's the kind of player. I know he's a fun guy. He's great to be around, and but he is a competitor.
Yeah.
And I don't want people, you know, the haircuts and the cut off sleeves and the tight short shorts. He's a competitor. I mean, he might look like he's putting on a show of other things, or, you know, of other sorts, but he's here to win. He wants to win, and he's a good competitor.
Well, I think that says a lot, you know, looking at other athletes that have personality as well as skill. We're looking at, like, your Conor McGregor's, right? He comes out with a lot of personality. He's got a great, you know, entertainment part of him. He loves to entertain, but he's about his business, and I think that's same as Bobby Ray.
Yeah, definitely. He's fun. I really enjoy Bobby Ray. Just talking to him is entertaining.
Yeah.
So. All right, Sam Judah on the board, 369. We haven't quite seen the same distances, and I'm feeling a little bit of a breeze. Maybe that's just here in the booth, but I'm not seeing the flags moving at all. But we're not seeing those 400-yard drives like we were a little earlier.
We're not. Yeah, we can feel the breeze. As we look at the flags, you might not see movement on the screen, but they're also protected by trees, which sometimes, kind of like when you're playing golf, you're a little bit uncertain where the wind's going because of the trees. And so that might have something to do with it as well.
Yeah, and I learned a lesson a few years back that the wind above the trees is different than the wind swirling between the holes, because you'll see that a lot of times where the flags are on the ground lower than the tops of the trees, right? So you'll see the wind may be circling between, you know, around from hole to hole underneath the tree line. Above the tree line, it could be moving a different direction at a much different rate of speed. Gotta be. Yeah, there's a lot of science. This is where I think people don't realize all that goes into this. So, but I think we're just, you know, just gals swinging as hard as we can and hoping, you know. That was my philosophy for a lot of years, though.
Yeah.
Close the eyes, tee it high, let it fly.
Yeah. Hey, it worked a little bit.
It's
a good
done
bit.
okay.
It's a good bit.
Maybe I need to go back to that. Sam Judah is putting on some incredible ball speed, 225.1. That is phenomenal. His apex was only 87, but like we talked about, that you don't have to launch it high on this elevated tee box.
No, 225. He has been he's always been fast. Watching him over the last 3 events control that speed is phenomenal.
You're exactly right. I think that his continued practice has got him shaping his shot better. 387 there from Devin Fitzgerald. We talked about him. He's fast. He's one of these guys, like I said, not the fastest guy, but he's fast. He's fast enough. He flights the ball, puts it in play. He's dangerous. So we got a 387, a 386, a 385 across the board here from 3 of the competitors.
391. We're going to wait for these scores to get locked in right after this.
Introducing World Long Drive International memberships. World Long Drive welcomes all of their international affiliates as part of the World Long Drive family. With an international membership, our worldwide competitors now have the ability to compete in internationally sanctioned World Long Drive events, the ability to earn world ranking points, plus all of the great community membership benefits. Sign up for an international membership today at worldlongdrive.com. All pro memberships include the ability to compete in international World Long Drive sanctioned events. Learn more at worldlongdrive.com.
We got to hear from Bobby Bradley there for a second about the international memberships as we were speaking to earlier. This is a world tour. We're here in Canada. We've got players from all over the world, Australia, Germany, as well as the States.
I think we even have some Japanese competitors coming.
So wherever you are in the world, you can be a part of this organization just by signing up there. Also, it was great to hear Bobby's voice. Definitely miss him. He's been talking about Tim Hortons all year. And then we get here, and he's not able to get his coffee, but I definitely got a coffee in honor of him today.
I think he's in Western Canada, so he's probably getting Tim Hortons over there.
Okay.
I think they have like 7,000 locations in Canada alone. So. All right, Mark Foto leading us off here with a 356. Bobby Ray in this set. Let's see, he in slot number 3, hitting the orange golf ball, and Scotty Pierman, slot number 4, hitting the pink golf ball. All right, let's go after 3 rounds. This is what we're looking at, the breakdown. Cody Billinghurst and Bobby Ray tied with 500 points for first place. Sean Johnson right behind him at 475. Scotty Pierman, 450. Colton Casto at 400 points, and then Bud Widener and Devin Fitzgerald 300, rounding out the top 7. Sam Judah and Colton Calcanis tied at 250, so that's the bubble right now is 250. This is looking like, man, I really thought we'd see a lot more, out of bounds sets, and we're just not seeing that many. I mean, there's probably 5, 6 in this group so far. That's good for competitors. I think if the wind changes, it doesn't sound like it's going to change that much today, but if we were to see that, maybe tomorrow, it makes it increasingly more difficult to hit the grid. So, all right.
Yeah, we'll see, especially after this round, this set, we'll see what that bubble looks like and how many people are going to be on it.
Yeah, I know Bobby's big on making predictions here, so I'm going to say the bubble is going to be 425. So
good number.
If you're over 425, you're in. If you're under 425, you're out. That's my guess. So we're going to have a guest commentator here in a few minutes.
We are.
The reigning world champion, Martin Borgmeyer, is going to be joining us here for the last 2 rounds.
The one, the only. I actually ran into him and Josh Koch at the airport yesterday. Apparently their clubs took a little bit longer to get here than they did. So they were picking those up. We'll hear from him and how he has been preparing for this event with running into a little bit of difficulties there.
Well, you'll have to bring it up. I'm going to have to go back and watch it because I'm going to be getting warmed up to hitting the next group. So I'll have to catch up a little bit later.
My predictions for the next group. I've got Ryan up there. So
I better find 10 miles an hour real quick. So Scotty Pierman with another win there. He's got 3 wins. He's definitely going to be going through, probably a high seed. Congratulations to him. Moving on. It's always a good feeling once you kind of lock that up and move on to the next round. Relief. A lot of relief.
Bobby Ray, very safe as well there.
Yep. All right, we've got Sean Johnson here in this group with Jacob Gill and Justin Balaga. And Bud Widener. Bud hitting as an amateur still.
Yeah, he's put up some really great numbers. I think that difference of transitioning right into the open division is just figuring out his consistency. Where does he want to hit the ball? What swing is he going to be? Like, I feel like, I don't know if you're like this, but I can remember what my swing felt like when I knew it was going to be good. And I just need to find that if I was a little bit off. What's that swing, that go-to swing when things are off?
Yeah, I've had a lot of opportunities to try and figure out what the thing is, and usually for me it's when I'm not using my legs. I'm not getting a turn.
Yeah.
I'm tight or something like that. It's usually always my legs, and that sometimes is because I'm old and I'm tired.
Mine's are hips. And that's in the words of Shakira. Yeah. They do not lie.
You bring up something that I think is important, that a lot of these guys, it's usually one thing that's off, and then once they figure that out, then they're usually good. So the quicker, and this would be for golf too, right? The quicker you can figure out that one thing that you're doing that makes everything right, then you're in much better shape. But sometimes when we're crossed up and we got 2 or 3 things going on, it's just the wrong day, the bad day.
Yeah,
you have to
we all have those.
But Sean Johnson with a 404. Okay, so we're back up into the 400s with some of these guys. Another low launch for him. He's 8.8 degrees. Not he usually has a pretty good ball flight, pretty 175 apex, and he's like 80, 90 apex right here.
He's put a lot of numbers in the 400s today. I'd say been almost consistent in the 400s.
Yeah. Justin Blogg, no balls in play yet. If we can get a ball in play, I think he'll be in pretty good shape.
I don't think he likes that one there. Let's see. Look at the numbers here.
Justin, I just looked here. I didn't realize he's had 2 OB sets, so he's at 25 points. This may be his 3rd OB set. This is not a great day for Justin Blogg. He may be struggling like we were talking about with, more than one thing.
Yeah.
Let's take a break. We'll come back and get this 3rd group in round 4 up.
Looking to compete on the World Long Drive Tour for the largest prize purses in World Long Drive history? Pro and amateur members can compete in their respective divisions all summer long as World Long Drive kicks off their 2023 tour. Visit worldlongdrive.com to become a member and view all the registration dates for upcoming tour events.
All right, we're back. We've got Elliot Slater, Michael Thorne, Cody Billinghurst, and Sam Judah on the tee. This is a big set for Sam. He has 1 OB set. If he wins this or comes in second,
he'll be in good shape if he wins this. His main competitor right here is going to be Cody Billinghurst, who's also hitting really well today. 2 wins and a 2nd place. So he's got his work cut out for him, but he's got the horsepower to do it. And he's, starts off with a 218 ball speed there. So if he's
just warming up.
Yeah, and that looked like it may be in play. He is turbo cut, right? That's his.
And he's in the perfect slot right now for that cut.
Yeah, he's been doing a lot more social media lately.
Yes, I love his. What is it? Turbo Stop?
Yeah, Turbo Daily 1.
Turbo Daily 1. Yes. He's a great follow.
Not liking that one quite as much.
And like we said, this is a 40-yard grid. Sometimes mentally it's hard to start it out on that left side. And because you can't see the grid open up from the point of view of the guys, they can't really see it open up. Mentally it makes it even tougher to aim that where you need to start it.
Well, he's got a 398. That's awesome.
That
Second
is.
ball, 398. And I've seen a 221 from him, 220, 208 on that last ball. But I'm sure there's just a moment of relief here. Gets that 398 ball. He knows it's going to be tough, but he's probably going to pick up at least 100 points with that 398 ball.
Yeah, a OB set from Sam is not normal. So it's great to see him have some numbers here on the board. Cody building up to it, 388.
Alexis, I want you to know that I just felt the breeze.
Yes.
And it is great.
It does
see
feel
the flag.
amazing.
We're seeing a little bit of a slight headwind now coming off the right side. And it feels good here in the booth.
It does. Ryan and I are sitting directly underneath the sun. I actually need to put probably some more sunscreen just on my right side. But we are starting to feel a breeze, which, to your point earlier, we might see some shifts in scores.
Yeah, and keeping the ball in play. I mean, a headwind is going to exaggerate any side spin, right? Or anything going left or right is going to go more left or right with the headwind. This is a little bit into us, but coming off the right side.
Yeah, so right now we have Elliot Slater at 333, Mike Thorne, OB set. We're waiting for Cody's last ball, which is going to make a big difference because Sam Judah sits at number 1 at 398.
Yeah, Colton Casto coming up here.
Reigning champ of the Mississippi event.
Yeah, we've got Colton Casto and Colton our announcer, Seamus Mannion, conflated the two names and started calling him Colton Calcasto. I've been making a point to try and not do that because I think that he was doing it without even realizing it.
Yes, I think I tend to do that as well, and sometimes I throw in the Cody name with the Colton. They put all Codys, Coltons in one set.
We could have a Cody Calcasto, which doesn't exist. It's
Which might be
mutation.
If that is in existence, that might be the fastest fastest player known to man.
All right, this is our final group here in set number 4. Casto with 2 wins and an OB set. He's at 400 points. He's just got to put balls in play right now and move on. And let's see what his numbers are. 143, 201. Did not strike the ball well there. A lot of spin, almost 5,000 spin on that ball. Not seeing a lot of high spins today, which is usually indicative of people lowering their loft.
Yeah.
Let's see if that ball is that ball might be in Buffalo by now. Took a left turn there. Needs to settle down. Matt Kindu in with a 376. He's leading the set now. Colton Calcanis 353. No balls in play yet for Devin Fitzgerald, but we know he's got a big drive inside because we've seen it already today.
Without a doubt. And although Colton Casto has not had a ball in the grid, if he puts one in play, it's going to make a big difference of where everyone finishes.
Yeah, in this 5th round, we've got to come up with a name for round 5, but that's the deciding round, right? That's where you'll start seeing, and the way that the format is laid out, right? The toughest competitors, the highest ranked competitors, are typically that last 4 slot, right?
Right.
The last 4 players. So if you're not ranked high, you're going to be in that group of the lowest ranked players, and you're in round 5 in your group of 4. So there's a chance that one of those guys that may not scored very well yet can get 200 points and jump all the way up into that 8th spot or higher and move on.
It'll be a great final round, especially for Group 4 this time, having Sam Judah, Sean Johnson, Colton Casto, Scotty Pierman. Scotty's locked in. Let's see who else is locked in. Sean's locked in.
Sean's locked in.
And then Sam and Colton, they're not on the bubble, but they're close to it.
Yeah, I think Sam winning that last set gets him up to 450. I think he's going to be. He's in 5th place right now. But there's several players there in that 225 range. So Jacob Gill, Wes Campo, Elliott Slater, either of those players get a win that throws them up to the 425 range, puts them somewhere close to that bubble, maybe in, maybe out.
Found it out. Looks like Devin will take this set at 388, and we will start set number 5 right after this.
Catch every single World Long Drive Tour competition right here on the World Long Drive YouTube channel. The Amateur, Senior, Women's, and Open Division Championship will be available on the Golf Channel. To stay up to date on everything WLD, follow us on social at World Long Drive.
All right, I am here in the booth with a special guest, the one, the only, Martin Borgmeyer, all the way from Germany. Thanks for being in the booth with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's actually really nice to see all of this from the booth. check some of the numbers before I hit at 11:30.
Yeah, get some information.
Yeah, it's a completely new grid, right? As you've probably said a few times today, it's different. The shape of it is different, and we players were all trying to figure out where to aim, which shot is the one to play. And as of right now, it's not that much a win, but I think if anything, it's a little bit off the right. So
yeah.
the balls are being pushed over to the left also.
Yeah, we were talking about it's 40-yard width.
Yeah.
And from the tee box, it's hard for you guys to see the opening that comes, you know, right after maybe 350 yards out there. So do you have a game plan set for the day?
I don't know really yet. I mean, I try to figure it out while we're on the mic right here.
Yeah.
So also the grid is sloping right to left a little bit. It's opening up, and from what I've seen so far is the bigger balls are usually rewarded with a little bit of better roll, plus also it's opening up. So, I mean, eventually I have a feeling speed is king out here, but at the same time it's fairly narrow.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting mixture. So so this is set 5, right? So
this is set 5. We've got Elliott Slater, Bud Widener, Mark Photo, and Matthew Kindu. Right now, who is absolutely in, Sean Johnson, Scotty Pierman, Cody Billinghurst, Bobby Ray, always great to see him. Excited to see what he's going to do this week. Devin Fitzgerald in, Sam Judah, Colton Casto. For the most part, they're probably going to be in. Bud Widener's on the bubble right there with Colton Calcanis.
Yeah, with the scores right now, Bud being at 368, he's got a really good chance to qualify, and that's impressive.
Yeah.
Because he signed up as an amateur.
He's an amateur. He's really young.
Exactly. And he went OB in his first set and then came back with 200, 100, and 100. And now potentially, depending on Mark's and Elliott's last ball, he could take home the set and be at 600.
So I have to say, Martin, the last time I saw you wear this outfit, green.
The green one.
The green one, you won.
Did I?
You wore it at one of the, it wasn't for the final day.
Right, yeah.
But
On the final day, I think I wore blue.
Yeah, but you had some green on one of those days, so how you feeling with that?
I probably wear green at every single one of the events because because the only colors that I wear usually are blue, green, and red, including a little bit of white every now and then. But
hey, I was just trying to give something to the people.
I like it.
The people at home who are betting, right? I want them to have something to go on.
I like it. I'm wearing green, so chances are really good that we make it this weekend. But, yeah, for me and a lot of other competitors as well that already also hit in this first group, like Sam Judah, Bobby Ray, for example, it's our first event out here in Canada. So
this is your first event in Canada?
This is my first event in Canada.
Okay, wow.
Also in Port Rowan, so let's see how it goes. It's always a little different for the competitors depending on how the grid suits your eye and also how the shot shape suits or the grid suits your shot shape. So let's see how it goes, but it's exciting to have different sorts of grids.
So I have to ask, I saw you guys, I ran into you and Josh Koch at the airport yesterday, and y'all have been here for some days
That's
beforehand.
A good catch, yeah, good catch.
How is preparing without your clubs? What does that look like? Because it's always kind of up in the air of what can happen when it comes to travel. We know that Justin James isn't here due to travel issues. How's that been for you?
Yeah, there was a tough storm in Chicago, and we've been going all over the place and finally made it here, but our clubs didn't. So preparation is different because there's no real preparation. Thanks to Sam Judah, who's also hitting in this first group, I could at least hit in the Endless Summer event, but not having your actual clubs, especially when the grips are different thicknesses and all that, different flexes. New
grid.
It's everything's just a little different, but I mean, I'm around for a couple of years, so I hope I can compensate it, but everything's always up in the air when you don't have your equipment, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what you practice with, that's what you're dialed in with, and you don't really know what to expect when you're hitting different stuff. But I mean, there's no excuses. So most importantly, let's see how these guys do now. But Widener made it through, by the way. He is now at 600 points. He took home the last set, and in this set we have a few people that still have a chance to make it through.
Yeah, it looks like right now we've got Justin Balaga, Mike Thorne, Devin Fitzgerald, Wes Campio, which I believe Devin is in. Yep, he's pretty much in. If he puts some numbers up on the board for this one, which is he's leading right now.
Yeah, and Wes has a chance mathematically to make it, but he's got to hit a minimum of 380 yards here to have a chance. Because based on this color system, from my understanding, these dark ones are the ones that still have a chance to get up. So the scoreboard we have in front of us indicates, based on the color, if players can still make it through or not. And it's a complicated process because it's based on ties and OB sets from different people. Mathematically,
which players need to win to move on, which players need to just have something on the board, and then which players are pretty much already in.
Yeah, but based on the numbers from what you've seen so far, what do you think is, the number that guys have to hit right now based on these conditions to have a good chance? Because I've seen everything. I've seen over 400s. Some sets were only 380s. What do you think that the reason for that is? Is it just different hits, or do you think the grid plays different at different times based on the wind?
Yeah, I think a little bit of both, but something that's interesting here is that people with faster swing speeds are still competing around the same numbers as people that might have slower swing speeds but might be a little bit more efficient in other areas. And so I think this tournament is a tournament for anybody, honestly. It's very fair across the board. If you have a kind of lower ball flight, you have an opportunity because we have an elevated tee. If you have a higher ball flight, your majority all carry. We haven't had a lot of wind. So I think it's all about efficiency. It's all about hitting the ball on the grid. And really where you're starting your aim point at. I see a lot of people a little bit scared to start on that left side and turn it over, and vice versa, not seeing how the grid opens up beyond the eye. So
yeah, I didn't walk down there. Did you walk down there?
I got a report from the guys down there.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
So are the sides still rough? Or
yes.
It's rough, right?
Yeah.
Which is interesting. I think that's an interesting concept when you think about it. So balls on the sides don't get that much roll. So you're actually being rewarded to hit it straight and get a little bit of more rollout. I actually like that concept. Let's see how it goes. I mean, World Long Drive right now is on the rise, and we're pretty much trying to figure out which formats and grids could work the best. But right now here we have Jacob Gill, Cody Billinghurst, Colton Kalkanis, and Bobby Ray. And from what I see on the scoreboard, Colton Kalkanis still has a chance.
Yep.
Jacob Gill still has a slight chance. And Bobby Ray and Cody are pretty much through.
They are through. Colton Kalkanis needs a win here, as well as Jacob Gill. So this is going to be a lot of fun to watch. We're in our final set in this group, but coming up in this next group, we are going to get started around 9:45. We have Kyle Berkshire, Andrew Eigner, Victor Bourget, and a ghost player. So this is not going to be a full one. Ryan Riesback, the trusty host of this week, Bryce Van Plank, and a host of other people. Who are you excited to see in this next set? I know your travel buddy, Josh Koch, is in this one.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's always great to watch Kyle as well, to see what he does based on his ball flight, because he's also hitting the high ball just like I do. So it's always interesting to see what those balls do. And compared to other guys, his ball flights, like Josh has a little bit of a flatter, lower ball flight. And then comparing those numbers and basically trying to figure out which ball I want to go with, or what the tendency is supposed to be. Ryan Riesbeck, always cool to watch, because I love him. I love seeing him on the tee box because he's got such a great personality out there, and he's in the sport for 15 plus years. So he's got all the experience. So let's see how he's dealing with.
Which is crazy because he's only like 25.
Yeah, exactly. And he looks 20. Also, Reed Russell, who just got into long drive about 2 years ago, but with his ball flight, he's got the high, like a little bit more of a sweeping hook sometimes, or a sweeping draw. And it's going to be interesting to see him as well as Jacob Galladay, because he's a player.
Jacob, this grid sets up for Jacob.
100%.
Also, this area sets up for Jacob in his style, very woodsy, very vintage. So this tournament, screams Jacob. But yeah, I'm excited to see these guys. The cool thing about Kyle's ball flight is, you were talking about a little bit similar to you, is that y'all also know how to control the spin, even though it's a high flight. I think that's the biggest difference when playing on a grid like this.
Yeah, it's very much about dialing in the equipment correctly, so you get the right loft, you get the right weight distribution in your club head as well as shaft, so that helps. But then, yeah, it's hitting the ball in the right angle, right?
Yeah.
The angle of attack's got to be fairly high to hit such a low spinning ball flight. But yeah, that's not how we started, right? Like a couple years ago, when I got into the sport 5-6 years ago, I didn't know what to do at all. So I just took a long drive club that I got off eBay and started hitting golf balls, right? And then I didn't even know what club speed was. And then slowly but surely, I got to know all these numbers and knew how to manipulate them, right? So that's pretty much the process that a lot of long drivers go through, as well as Sam Judah, who's on the tee box right now, who just got introduced to long drive last year. And now he has a few top 3 and top 5 finishes, so I would not be surprised if he took home a W this year.
Without a doubt. He has been someone that has a high learning curve.
Oh, yeah.
From controlling his swing to figuring out what shot shape he has. It's been fun to watch his journey. But
and he was struggling this morning, by the way. So from what I've seen on the stream when I was in the car, because our hotel is an hour away, so I had a lot of time to watch you guys on the stream, which was great. And Sam did not do well. He was struggling. I was approaching him on the driving range, and he was a little frustrated with what he did. So let's see how this set goes for him, because what he's naturally doing is he's hitting a low slice. So that's his natural ball flight. But he's trying to get the ball more up in the air. I mean, he's probably never going to be a real true draw player, but he's trying to get his ball flight more towards that direction.
Yeah.
And when that doesn't go his way, it's very easy to get frustrated and throw it. But he's at 450 right now. He should be in. He looks very green right now. Yeah,
all these guys are in. The top 8 is locked in at Bobby Ray at number 1, Cody Billinghurst, Devin Fitzgerald, Sean Johnson, Scotty Pierman, Bud Widener, Sam Judah, and Colton Casto. To your point of I just blanked on Sam's name, but to your point of Sam Judah, it's interesting because even though he was struggling, he was still making big plays. And I think that's when it comes down all to the mental aspect of the game. We've talked a lot about all the things that go into being a professional long driver, right? It's a lot different than an amateur because the things that we're talking about, from spin to wind to all the mechanisms that come in to being the best, mental is right there at the top. And so I feel like even though he's frustrated, he's done well to kind of hone that in and focus on what he's doing. We all have rough days.
100%. I mean, great players make big-time plays at the right time.
Yeah,
right? That's what it's about. And, I mean, knowing all the theory behind it and executing in practice is great, but you got to do it in the right moment. And I think Sam, especially with his professional baseball background, he's an athlete.
Yeah.
Also, the mental side of things, from the mental side of things, he's an athlete as well.
He is.
Right? So he knows how to grind, he knows how to push through it, and he knows when he's got to do well, and then it's all about executing, and I think he did pretty well considering
Look at
the
him
start.
now. He's literally talking with the fans, running back up, hitting before he...
You know what I think? Right now, he's recording his Turbo Daily One.
Yes! Did you see him stop? He did.
I think
he totally did.
He's doing his Turbo Daily One right now.
We were just talking about that earlier. He stopped mid-swing, goes back. He definitely recorded his Turbo Daily One.
He hit it OB right, but at 218 ball speed, that's pretty impressive recording his Turbo Daily One.
Well, make sure you guys tune into his Instagram to watch his Turbo Daily One. You can do it during this break. We're about to move into group number 2. We will be back on at 9:45. Make sure you tune in.